Yeah.
And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And just guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that I was in.
There's no coming back from that. The people who, like, dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get, like, a second set.
He got out of first gear. Jake Paul was just on pure survival mode from round 1 right through to round 6. I don't know if he's got a moral victory going 6 rounds. Maybe he has. People might give him credit for going 6 rounds. But he got in there and just survived. He just went in there and ran like a chicken from round 1 right through to round 6 when he got splattered.
Joe Rogan reacted with shock to the serious, potentially career-ending injuries Jake Paul suffered in his bout against Anthony Joshua. He stressed that boxing is an exceptionally dangerous sport, warning that continued punishment in the ring can cause lasting brain damage and severely affect everyday life. According to Rogan, experts have long cautioned that injuries like these come with lifelong consequences, making it clear that the risks fighters take are not just physical, but potentially life-altering.
Think you can't do things, you don't know what the you're doing in life, it's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think. And I knew
Joe Rogan has issued a strong warning to Jake Paul, urging him to reconsider taking such high-risk boxing matches. He emphasized that no level of fame or success is worth putting one's life on the line. Following his fight with Anthony Joshua, Jake reportedly suffered severe injuries, including a broken jaw and the loss of multiple teeth, requiring surgical treatment. Rogan warns that continuing down this path could result in even more serious, possibly permanent damage. He reminds fans and fighters alike that while these bouts bring excitement and attention, health must always come before glory in the ring.
The little boy actor that got strung out on drugs, and all his fronts and all his teeth were missing from being on meth or whatever, whatever drug of choice he was on. There's no coming back from that. The people who, like, dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get like a second set. So if I'm not mistaken, the dude from Mighty Ducks, somebody like he's been clean and they gave him a makeover and he has like pretty much fake teeth. So yeah, the teeth are going to be cooked. Now, I agree with the other part that Rogan was saying, but let's keep going.
I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah, and I've already expressed my thoughts on this. I'm not giving no props for a person who says I am a real deal boxer because I went and get smashed and got my jaw broken, but I lasted longer than Ngannou. But I was crazy enough to try because, to be honest, we're way past the honeymoon stage with a person like Jake Paul. You've been in this for long enough to go through fight camps, dedicate your time, effort, energy, money, spar with people. You spar with some quality names because you have resources and money or whatever. So we're well past that to the point where you just get credit for stepping in. You maybe got credit your first fight or whatever, first couple of fights for.
David Hay explained why Anthony Joshua didn't knock out Jake Paul in the first round, pointing out that boxing rarely works through instant finishes. He noted that while Joshua didn't land his hardest punches early, Jake was constantly moving and avoiding clean shots. Over time, however, the accumulation of controlled, precise punches took its toll. Hay stressed that Joshua shouldn't be criticized for not ending the fight immediately, as smart pacing and accuracy matter more than rushing for a knockout. Despite surviving the early rounds, Jake's injuries highlight just how dangerous boxing can be even without full power blows.
What happened was what was always going to happen. A lot of people thought he would only last 1 round, 2 rounds, but you've got to give Jake credit. He went out there and had a solid game plan and was implementing it at times, was landing shots and was avoiding getting hit with the big shots. But there's a reason we have weight categories in boxing, and I'd say he sticks with the cruiserweight division where the guys are the same size as him, because that, without having the schooling, the many years, I was able to give away 100 pounds in weight because I've been boxing since I was 10. I was an international amateur and world champion at cruiserweight. That's why I was able to do the big jump and use the tactics that he used to win the heavyweight championship. But credit to him, nothing but respect for Jake Paul for putting on such an event and putting himself in harm's way.
I would imagine some people back home for you are going to say, man, AJ should have gotten out of there in 2 rounds.
No, anyone who understands boxing knows it's very difficult to close the range on someone who doesn't want to hold his feet. And is AJ supposed to just run around swinging and missing? No, he's supposed to wait for the right opportunity, which he did. And once the opportunity presented himself, he landed and the fight was over. But anyone who kind of gives AJ stick because he didn't knock him out in one round doesn't understand boxing.
What level would you say Jake Paul is after that performance?
Pardon?
What level would you say Jake
It's
Paul
hard,
is?
it's hard to tell. It's very, very difficult to see what level he was because he was fighting someone
Boxing analysts are increasingly questioning Jake Paul's future in the sport, suggesting he's seriously reconsider continuing his career. Critics point out that much of Paul's record has been built against retired boxers, inexperienced fighters, or athletes from other disciplines like MMA, raising doubts about the legitimacy of his success. This approach allowed him to protect his record, but it also meant he never consistently faced elite-level competition. Now, after knockout losses to Anthony Joshua and Tommy Fury, analysts believe the risks have finally caught up with him. They warn that continuing to box at this level could be extremely dangerous and may signal the end of his viable career.
Now, boxers like Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, none of them are boxers. Nate Robinson, who's a YouTuber. So I guess, over the hill, retired Mike Tyson, who's 60, almost lost his life before the fight and had blood transfusions and was coughing up blood and was transported off of a plane for passing out. And Jake Paul wanted to fight him and still tried to knock him out. A lot of y'all like to say he had mercy on Mike, but I promise you, I watched the fight. Just go back and watch it again. He was trying to knock Mike Tyson out from beginning to end. He could not do it. The reason he couldn't do it is because he refused to get too close to Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson always would swing back, and he knew could not take that punch from Mike Tyson. So he hit and he ran. And at the end of the fight, he was not showing mercy on Mike. He was trying to make sure that he doesn't get knocked out or caught with something stupid, because he knows he's about to win. He didn't want to risk it. I'm not going to keep letting y'all run with this narrative that Mike Tyson was following a script with all these fake script posts running around on Facebook, or saying that he had...
Eddie Hearn calmly reflected on the fight, stating that everything unfolded exactly as planned. He explained that the strategy was built around patience, control, and gradually breaking Jake Paul down before finishing the fight. While Hearn initially expected a quicker stoppage, he admitted he was pleased the bout lasted longer, allowing the game plan to fully develop. He recalled moments where Anthony Joshua remained completely composed and confident inside the ring. For Hearn, the performance was a clear demonstration of Joshua's experience, ring intelligence, and mental control, proof that outside noise and online criticism mean nothing when the plan is executed perfectly.
I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds, but when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just anywhere, arms. I got in, he went, "What are you rushing me for?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry." So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing, and actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random. I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mom said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She is promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round. Yeah. So, no, I give Jake respect. And, sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me.
Carl Froch delivered a scathing critique of Jake Paul's latest fight, calling the entire event a disgrace to boxing. He questioned why Paul continues to receive praise, arguing that the hype surrounding the bout was driven more by spectacle than genuine boxing skill. Froch warned of a troubling trend in modern boxing, where social media popularity and entertainment value often overshadow true talent and achievement. He believes that if this direction continues, the integrity of the sport will suffer and younger fans may begin valuing flash over fundamentals. According to Froch, fights like these should not define boxing, and regulators must rethink how such matchups are promoted to protect the sport's credibility.
Sparko, he wasn't rendered unconscious, but he got done. He got it on the chin, he went over, he didn't beat the count, he was sort of up on his feet. But if I'm honest, the whole fight was terrible on it. It was just so bad. It was It was just shit, wasn't it? A proper bad fight for AJ. And let me start with AJ. AJ was following him around the ring a little bit, sort of pouring with the jab, putting the jab on the shoulder of Jake Paul, sort of putting him in the corner and not really pulling the trigger on the right hand. He didn't seem to be motivated to go in there and just smash Jake Paul into oblivion in the first 1 or 2 rounds, which I think he could have done. But he's been out of the ring 15 months. He's a bit slow on his feet, a bit ring rust maybe, and he was it's hard. When I used to spar novice amateurs, even when I was a world champion pro, if you're not motivated, sometimes you can have a couple of bad rounds and you're sort of looking at your opponent and a jab hits you or right hand hits you. And I think AJ was in a bit of a daze early on, just walking him around, touching the jab on his shoulder, not really pulling the trigger on the right hand. Didn't look like he got out of first gear. Jake Paul was just on pure survival mode from round 1 right through to round 6. I don't know if he's got a moral victory going 6 rounds. Maybe he has. People might give him credit for going 6 rounds. But he got in there and just survived. He just went in there and ran like a chicken from round 1 right through to round 6 when he got splattered. And it's like, it's just, you can't really justify what he's done, because this is supposed to be a professional sanctioned boxing match. And I think it brings the integrity of the sport down when somebody like AJ, is a 2-time world champion, can't get in there and just completely dismiss somebody like Jake Paul, who I've said for ages can't fight. He's not a professional boxer. It's just AJ following him around, touching him to the shoulder. Round 1 came and went. Round 2 was much of the same, bit slow. I think AJ got caught with an overhand right at one stage, but sometimes when you're out in the rain, you're going to get wet. It was following him around, taking his eye off the ball, probably a bit undermotivated.